something to dance to.
Pussyo, My Little Pickle, Kombucha. These nuts. Have a nice day. Pussyo, My Little Pickle, Kombucha. These nuts. Have a nice day.
Yo, give me something to dance to.
Blood is a ventriloquist.
going on, guys? Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Big stream today. Big important stream today. The most important stream for 2024 thus far. By far. Far and away. Easily. It is. It actually is. No, I looked it up. I looked it up. This is the most important stream for the year. Far and away. Shut up and tell me what to dump and pump. I'll give you something to dump and pump, buddy. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Kaigas, thank you for the resub. Thank you for the Prime King. Mario 2 Dope, thank you for the Prime. Your Legends, thanks for 18 months. Pussio, my little pickle. Kombucha.
Boss. Jenny Gene, thank you for the
Nuts.
resub.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for 5 months. Too kind. Too kind. How you doing, guys? You good? It's been happening. It's late. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Kaigas, thank you for Sensei. Your legend. Your boss. Where's the jacket? It's just a little bit too hot. We're in summer, guys. Come on, let's be serious. Plus, you don't want to wear a jacket. No one wears a jacket sitting down. Who wears a jacket sitting down? Who wears a suit jacket or a blazer sitting down? Bertram, all the way from Singapore. What's going on? Can I emote? Which emote do you want? We'll save the emotes for later. Where are my muscles? Jeez. That kind of stream, isn't it? You good? We ready? Everyone here, welcome. Welcome everybody to today's stream. This is a very important stream today. Something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I just had to get it right. I just had to get it right. It just wasn't ready yet. But it's ready now. We're ready for it. It's time. I feel like it's the right time as well. You don't want to go too early with this kind of thing. We really got to get rid of Leon, don't we? He's got to get off the screen. Look, I love the What Up Heart Squad. Okay. You know, you gave up your hand too early here, because if you were smart, you would have waited. You would have held on to that until like a very important moment and then dropped it. But you did it at the start, so now I turn it off. So if you got me halfway, you would have buckled everything. You were close. You flew too close to the sun. Taco J, good to see you, man.
What up, Hard Squad?
And on that note, we turn off TTS as well. It's still Chinese New Year. That's good to know. Talim, good to see you, Talim. How you going? The how to play video was beautiful. Thank you, Function. You're a legend. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, guys, good to see ya. Everybody, thanks for coming down. I know it's been a while since we've gone live, but I have been working in the background on this. I just wanted to get this right and kind of have this be like a bookmark. This feels like a little bit of a bookmark for Japanese Pokemon card collecting in general. It's the right time to put it. Not so much a bookmark. That's the wrong... When I say not so much a bookmark, I mean definitely not a bookmark. I meant a bookend. That's the word I was looking for. A bookend, because you have a start and an end, and then you put, yeah, the end, and it just like closes the chapter, yeah? Not a bookmark. Bookend. It feels like now is a pretty good bookend moment for Japanese Pokemon cards. I did put this live up as a scheduled live. And a few people messaged, and I saw comments in the chat saying that it was clickbait. I didn't want it to be clickbait. It's not the point. It is a outlandish take. It's a bit of a, it's a hot take. Let's be serious. It's a bit of a hot take. I don't deny that. But I think it is an on-point take. I don't think it's anything outrageous. I think when we get to the end of this, we're going to feel like everything kind of just makes sense. We're in a nice little spot. We did this, we kind of do this every 3 or 4 months. I usually do a stream where we talk about like the state of Japanese Pokemon cards. We've done it in the past, and it's usually pretty good if you're a collector or even if you're an investor. I don't really care. Or if you're an opportunist. Doesn't bother me. I don't care why you come to watch this channel, what you do with the information that you get out of it, or the opinions, rather, I should say. But they're usually pretty good, like, deep dives into what's happening at that present time for the Japanese Pokemon card collecting space. We haven't done one for a while, and based on the last 3 or 4 months, I feel like it's probably going to be the last one that we do for a very long while. So today we're going to talk about why I think Japanese Pokemon cards have kind of fallen off. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a take that a lot of different people share in the space. Now, first and foremost here, guys, we got to start with the foreword. Okay? I just have to do this. I wanted to do the complete opposite. I wanted to say this is financial advice. This isn't opinion. This is fact. You should go and take what I say today and present to you and use it to your benefit. That's what I wanted to say. But this is like a really weird space. The Pokemon card hobby, the online space is crazy. I think we've all seen that over the last couple of months. So, forward, this isn't financial advice. All right, pretty obvious. There may be other forces at play beyond what I speak about today. So this isn't a be all and end all. It can't be, because some of those forces at play, there's nothing to back them up outside of conjecture and anecdotes and just personal opinions or personal experiences. And I don't want to share those personal experiences and stories that I have heard and then spruik them to you guys as fact, because that would be dangerous. This is primarily opinion. I say it's primarily opinion because, well, it's based on fact and events and things that have happened, but it's my interpretation of them. So it's opinion. And finally, it's not that serious. Don't look too deeply into this. It's a tool. This should just be something that it's information that you can use as you collect, as you invest, or as you take punts. I'm a tool. Not the first time someone said that. If you want to ignore all that, fine, go ahead. Because I know some people sometimes, you know, they think, oh, he's just saying that to cover himself, but really, he's on the source. And to that I say, if you take this as financial advice and you go into crippling debt, you are probably sitting at your computer right now looking a little bit like this. Don't take that personally. I was going to use a much harsher image. I feel like that was the middle ground outside of being offensive and tongue-in-cheek. Why am I attacking you? Sometimes, I've said this before, some people need to be bullied. Bullying is important. I don't think it's any secret that the last 3 months for Pokemon cards have been really, really weird. You know, the whole November, December, January period, it's been odd, okay? It hasn't exactly been normal, but last year wasn't normal either. From the end of 2022 through the middle of the year, about June, July, Japanese Pokemon cards went on an extremely explosive ride. This is a graph that shows the average price of a Japanese Pokemon card in Japan, tracked over time. The gray bars that you see going up and down there, that's volume of sales. Which is actually kind of interesting because there was a lot of volume in April, not so much in June and July. But the average price in June, and you can see it at the end of the graph there, 65,000 yen. That is a lot of money. That's the average price for a card. So that means all the cards went up in value. The most expensive cards were obviously weighting that average up higher, and then it was brought down by the cheapest cards, which are probably going to be like your commons and uncommons. But the average price at that point in time was 65,000 yen. That's a lot. Now, if you look at this graph, different things happen at different points in time. In December, V-Star Universe came out. It's pretty flat there. In February, we first saw special art rares or special illustration rare trainer cards. That was when Miriam got revealed and things kind of went into a little bit of overdrive. And then March and April is when Clay Burst released. And you guys saw the Iono card, not just the full art trainer, the SR, but the SAR too. That came out in Clay Burst. Really playable card, beautiful card too. Really awesome card. I like both cards a lot. I actually bought the Iono SAR at its most expensive point in time. Bit of a mistake because you'll see now that over the course of 2023, cards went down in value significantly. But that's kind of what happened over that period of time. But that wasn't the entire year. The entire year looks like this. It peaked in June, July. You can see there at the bottom 7. But from that peak, it just slowly went down. And now we're kind of back to where we started. If we zoomed out of this graph and looked at it from 2020 to now, where we are now, which is obviously on the right, is really close to where we were for all of 2022. And that's normal. We can't always be in the good times. Sometimes you've got to be in the bad times. To get to the good times, you've got to be in the bad times. That's just how it works. It's natural. This is a totally normal thing. There's nothing really that crazy about it. But now things kind of feel different. They feel like entirely dead. It doesn't feel like this, you know, high that we're seeing here is going to come back anytime soon. It feels like things are entirely dead. It just feels like it's Jova. It feels Jawari. Let's be serious. It feels Jawari. So what actually happened? If we look in here, this is a picture of Shiny Treasure EX. It's back on the shelves. Product's back on the shelves, right? Granted, not for an extended period of time, but if you've got your wits about you, you're kind of online all the time. If you're online often, you got your alerts set up, you'll catch these drops. You know, they last for about 10 to 15, 20 minutes. This was unheard of all through 2023. You just were not seeing this happen at all through 2023. But now, in the last 2 months or so, you're able to pick up booster boxes of Shiny Treasure EX off the Pokemon Center online Japan for retail. Granted, it's one per person, but better than nothing. But beyond that, boxes are actually getting cheaper than retail price. This is a tweet from Japan You Want PokeCart. This is a popular third-party store. They're actually advertising that the box price for Wild Force and Cyber Judge, the most recent sets, is now below retail price. They've reduced the price below retail. It's getting closer to wholesale price. And the quantity restrictions reduced as well. So it's not just one per person. This is for the latest set. This just was not happening last year. These are just sitting there, waiting for you to pick up. So between last year and now, what the hell happened? What has actually changed? Why are we in this space now where things feel normal again? Things feel healthy. It doesn't feel like you're fighting for your life to get a booster box, or single prices are unfathomably expensive. I'll practice that one later for next time so we don't get it wrong. It's not just the modern cards that are feeling the lows of this period either. So it's not like only the newest cards that are coming out that have more volume than any are cheaper. And the previously high expensive cards that were harder to get, what I sometimes like to call like vintage modern. Look at this guy. Look at this idiot here. Who's that? Look at him. What's he cooking? That vintage modern sort of space era, Shiny Star V, the 2020-21 stuff, you know, that's gone down in value too. This is from a stream in 2021 when we used to talk about this. 89,800 yen for Marnie. It was a massive chase card. People wanted this card. They still want this card. They wanted it a lot last year. I remember selling one for $600. Now it's come down to 31,800 yen. You know, it's a fraction of its price during this peak, even during last year's peak. Some would say that people are just naturally spending less during this period of the world, you know. Most countries are heading towards a recession. The cost of living has gone up. Inflation has hit. The effects of it have, anyway. People don't really have that disposable income anymore to just drop on a hobby. What did I used to call it? I think I used to call it leisure money. Others will say that Pokemon cards in general have just died. And so with that, interest has gone entirely. I personally kind of disagree with that one. I don't think Pokemon cards have died, but it feels like it. Or that just card games in general are just not interesting to people anymore. I think it's a combination of things, and that's what we're going to dive into in a little bit. But we have to start here with Shiny Treasure EX. This is where it all begins. We rewind back to about October, November 2023. This is what we call a high class set. Traditionally, when high class sets come out at the end of a year in Japan exclusive, the Japanese Pokemon card space kind of goes into overdrive. So whatever interest is already there gets ramped up. Because this is an exclusive set. It's hard to come by. There's a lot of interest. Everybody wants it. There's a lot of cards in it. There's a lot of new rares. There's a lot of playables. It just ticks every box. And it's really, really affordable too. 5,500 yen. For a moment when this was revealed, it kind of did. Now, I will say, and we can all agree on this, and I was very vocal about this too. The initial reveal, it was pretty terrible. You know, we saw these shiny cards, so we were like, okay, it's just going to be another shiny set. We've seen shiny sets like this before. Shiny Star V, Ultra Shiny GX in 2018. We're doing this again. We're at this point of the Pokemon card cycle. These are kind of boring. Outside of the Charizard, and let's be honest, last year we had, there's a lot of Charizard cards have come out in the last couple of years. I think the Charizard fatigue is well and truly hit. Meowscarada and Quaquaval, not really that interesting, but the follow-up reveals were really cool. And then this is when things kind of took a little bit of a turn, right? At first you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Am I right, chat? Yes. Funny movie reference. Guy knows thing. The Gardevoir SAR, it's beautiful. The Charizard, it's a step up from the Ruler of the Black Flame Charizard. And seeing Art Res as well coming in this set, that was a huge tick too, you know, because Art Res have traditionally always been a really, really big draw for collectors. They're like an extra kind of card. You get a few more of them in a box, but they're cool. They're not obviously as rare as your SAR, but they look stunning. And they make you feel like you walk away with something. There's some really solid value proposition there. So when these got revealed, the pump started. And this is natural, you know? A lot of collectors that have been around in this space for a couple of years at least kind of saw this coming. If you were new to Pokemon cards, Japanese Pokemon cards as well, this would have felt a little bit unnatural. Oh, you know, now all of a sudden the box price is super expensive. But we've seen this happen time and time again with VMAX Climax and then V-Star Universe. With Shiny Star V, it was a little bit delayed. What do I mean by pumping though? What is pumping? Pumping's got a few different definitions. Well, simplest answer is when something is sold for more than it's intended to. So the retail price for this set is 5,500 yen, which is about, I think about now, it's about 40 US dollars. Australian dollars, you're looking at about 50 to 60 pound. I want to go out on a leg and say it's like 30 pound. My GBP conversion rate is pretty poor. But if, you know, you got Google, you can just quickly slap in currency converter. That was the retail price. The market price is where the pump starts. Market price is... Who even knows anymore? Nobody even knows what the market price for anything is anymore. Who decides it? Huh? Where does it come from? Who is deciding the market price? And what is your source? Damn it. The market price just gets dictated by whoever, usually by sellers. And when it comes to Japanese Pokemon cards, because it's a gray import or it's an imported product, so it's not meant to be sold internationally, but it is anyway because people buy it from Japan and then bring it over and then sell it. You've generally got 3 different types of sellers, and those 3 different types of sellers are the pumpers. The first pumper, or the first type of seller, sorry, I shouldn't just automatically, I don't want to blanket and say everybody who sells Japanese Pokemon cards is a pumper, okay? The first type of seller is the free market, and this is just traditionally eBay. There can be other free market selling platforms like Facebook, or you can sell over Instagram, but for the most part, eBay takes the lion's share as the free market. You got comps, buddy? You got source on that price? Yep, eBay last sold. Bang. Free market at play. The other type of seller is the third-party seller. So, again, you're not supposed to sell Japanese Pokemon cards internationally. It's for sale in Japan only. But third-party sites like JYW Pokecar and Plaza Japan, Hobby Genki, Ami, what's the other one? It's like Hobby something, Hobby Link, you know? All these different third-party sites where we often will buy Japanese Pokemon cards from are third-party sellers. By the way, I'm not advocating for any of these stores in this video or in this stream, nor am I dumping on them. I'm just referring to them. I'm not affiliated with these stores in any way. The third type of seller is, oh, sorry, my mistake. There's another type of third-party seller as well. These are traditionally based in Japan. So I don't know how, you know what? I don't know how they skirt around their little restrictions there, but there's a little bit of a wink wink and a nudge nudge. And even though they're based in Japan, they still sell them overseas. The other type of third-party seller is the third-party seller that is based in North America, or that basically isn't based in Japan. You may be familiar with Sakura's Card Shop. It's a pretty popular one. We're going to talk a little bit about them throughout today's stream. And again, I'm not dumping on anybody. Nothing good, nothing bad. Just saying what happened. And PokeNE, you guys know this guy. He's the money guy. I love this graphic. I feel like this graphic is amazing. PokeNE, featured on Vice. So good. I looked up PokeNE logo, saw that, I'm like, that is the one. That is the one that's going in the video. They're another type of third-party seller as well. And then you've got the third type of seller, not a third-party seller, technically kind of, breakers, rip and shippers. Talk of the town at the moment. They've been the ire of the Pokemon card collecting world for a very, very long time. Twitch, where live streamers open up packs for people that are buying the packs, sell them the hits. You see your hits get pulled in real time by your favorite creator, your streamer, and then they send them to you. And it's a fun experience. I get why people do it. Whatnot, a recent platform, or a platform that has gained a bit of notoriety over the last couple of years. Happens a lot on there too. Building, Whatnot, the platform. But you can also break and sell cards on Whatnot too. For those of you that just have no idea what a breaker or rip and shipper is, I'm just going to explain it really, really quickly. It's basically, let's say I have a booster box. I'm going to say, hey, this booster box cost me $50. I'm going to sell each pack. One pack is going to cost $5. There's 30 packs inside. I'm going to make money off that because 30 times 5 is 150. The box cost me 50. I walk away with $100. But beyond just the card inside, you get a fun experience. Everybody's watching me open your pack. And whenever I hit, I send it to you. And it's exciting. Fun. Everyone has a good time. Maybe, I don't know, if it floats your boat. But that is the concept of breakers, rip and shippers. They charge a little bit more because you get a service, the service being the entertainment value. Now, on the free market, when those SAR cards got revealed, we go and look at eBay from about that period because this set came out on the 1st of December. November, we started to see sold for about 70 USD, plus the shipping puts it about 100. You can see there's two that sold there for 152, plus the shipping puts it at about 90 USD per booster box. And there's more sales there if you go and look. I can't include every sale that ever happened ever in the history of the universe, but if you go there and scroll all the way back like I did, you will see that they were selling for about that much on eBay. Third-party sellers, well, they had to adapt to that. If they didn't adapt to that, they were going to be selling at a loss because people were just going to go there, buy them for the cheaper price, and then put them on eBay and make that profit themselves. So third-party sellers like PokeNE, this is just one example, were advertising, selling for 100 USD. Warning, all sales final, no adjustments. I wonder why they said that. Look, hate them or love them, those are their terms. They were selling it for that much. If they didn't, and they sold it at retail like Japan You Want Poker Card did, they were gone in an instant. They were almost impossible to get at retail price unless you were running a bot or you just had no life and you were just sitting there on JYW hidden refresh. Like somebody in my server, June, he's either botting or he's a no. I love you, June. I'm kidding, buddy. But if you weren't listing it at this price, you were listing it at the retail price, it was gone in an instant. And then you had the breakers, which if you just go back and have a look, you'll see are forced to match this price as well, because if they don't, then the whole space starts to collapse. Which is kind of what happened when this fella entered the foray. TikTok. Now, if you're outside of the US or you weren't really paying attention at the time, you might be thinking, what does TikTok have to do with Japanese Pokemon cards? Why is this even relevant? What's he doing talking about TikTok? Well, TikTok kind of broke everything because TikTok introduced TikTok Shop last year. And TikTok Shop, basically a platform, a space where you can buy anything, not just Pokemon cards, but anything from your favorite TikTok creator. This is actually from Mystic Rips' TikTok store. I grabbed this from one of his videos. I didn't credit him. I should have said screenshot Mystic Rips, but hey, Mystic Rips, that guy doesn't credit anybody, so why the hell should I credit him? That's bad precedent. An eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind, chat. As I say, not as I do. On TikTok Shop, you could buy Pokemon cards, and you still can. You still can. But TikTok Shop did it a little bit differently. Maybe because it was Christmas time. Maybe because they were trying to get a stranglehold on the market. Who knows? But TikTok Shop were offering sales. And these sales weren't getting covered by the seller. They were getting covered by TikTok. So while you were maybe spending 100 USD, 90 USD if you were buying it off a third-party store or eBay, on TikTok, even though it was a third-party platform as well, you're actually spending a little bit less because TikTok was covering some of the costs there. So let's say a store or a seller imports a box of Shiny Treasure EX for 80 US dollars. So they go, they find a supplier somewhere in Japan, and they import a whole bunch of boxes for 80 US dollars. And then they sell them for 90 US dollars. Obviously, that's a profit of 10 USD. But in this instance, if TikTok is providing a 30% discount to the buyer only pays $60. And now the store, the seller, listing at 90, walks away with a $30 profit instead of 10. So they're tripling their profits because of TikTok. And this was great, not just for the seller who was profiting more, but for the buyer, because now you're paying less. You're getting closer to that retail price. You know, the price is getting lower and lower, and it's a better value proposition. So naturally, if you were running a TikTok shop, you capitalized on this, and a lot of stores started capitalizing on this. This is a screenshot from Sakura's Card Shop Twitter account from the 9th of December, where they sold 666 units of Shiny Treasure EX for 74 USD. So that's about a week, a week and a half after the set comes out. Well, you fast forward, you go a little bit further into the future to the 14th of December. So this is just a week later. And now you're seeing it on TikTok for 54 USD. Even lower. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. This is unprecedented. This was just not happening during the VMAX Climax and the V-Star Universe era of Japanese Pokemon cards. So now, instead of spending 100 USD, you're literally halving it. This is 2 weeks after the set has come out. We don't usually see this kind of thing happen until about January, February, March, after the release. So 1, 2, 3, 4 months after, when people's interests have moved on to something different. This was happening 2 weeks after the set had come out. And if you're to believe that number, 8,466 units, that is so many. That is a lot. It's a lot of units. And it just kept getting lower. 12 more cents. Are you seeing this, chat? Surely he finds a better example. 53.92 to 53.80. Are you kidding me? No, this example is meant to show you that Sakura's Card Shop then had to adapt. Sakura, 9th of December, selling for 73 USD. Cali Poker House comes in 53. Well, I gotta match it. 53 and 80 cents the 17th of December. It got lower. Some people were getting targeted deals, targeted discounts from TikTok, bringing the price of a booster box down to as low as 34 USD. That is practically below retail price. So within 2.5 weeks, arguably 3, this set is back to retail, if not below it. This is the 20th of December, 2023. It's actually a little bit earlier because it says to be shipped by then. That's crazy. So TikTok kind of broke the game. People were feasting everywhere. It was a great time. If you were in the US, because you couldn't take advantage of this deal, definitely not in Australia. And I'm not so sure about if you're in Europe or the UK. A little bit harder to take advantage of TikTok Shop's deals there. But if you're in the US, you were literally feasting. And what this did was put a lot of pressure on traditional third-party sellers that didn't have TikTok Shop as a platform for them to sell cards. They were forced to bring their prices down, but they couldn't bring them down as low as the TikTok Shop sales were, because if they did that, they were going to be losing money. So they brought them down, but US 62 is a far cry from US 34, and it's less than US 53. So as a buyer, why would you import it from Plaza Japan, where the shipping costs are going to be higher? It's going to take a little bit longer to get. Yeah, it's more trusted than some random store on TikTok, but as a buyer, you're thinking about how much money you can save. So if you didn't have TikTok Shop as a platform, you started to struggle. And cheaper boxes as we all know, means cheaper cards. And that is exactly what started to happen with Shiny Treasure EX. And that was great. We liked that. That was very good. And then we're still starting to feel the effects of it. We love that. This is from an okJLUV stream on the 1st of December. Let's talk about Shiny Treasure EX. This was release day. And I love doing these streams because they're a pocket in time. We get to go and say, hey, what was it at that day? This was launch day. This is a really popular card store in Japan, Yuyute. They don't ship internationally, but they do ship to a Japanese address. Parcel forwarder, like Black Ship, that can then ship the card to you. So it's a great way to just go and pick up a card, pick up a whole bunch of them, especially on launch day, and get them over to you ASAP. And you can see here from the chase cards in this set, the prices are pretty high, especially for the Ionos, 59,800 yen. The Gardevoir, 20,000 yen. The Mew EX, 14,800. The others not as expensive, right? But up there. They're pretty expensive, as to be expected for launch day prices. But what happened after that is crazy, and that brings us to right about now. So this is a graph of Iono's tracked sales from a combination of third-party stores, third-party merchants like Mercari. It also tracks the sales data of Card Rush to an extent, though I believe this graph specifically just covers Mercari. The gray bars that you see there are volume of sales. So more volume, obviously, around about launch day, because that's when there's a lot of hype and people are trying to take advantage and punt to see whether or not the card was going to go up or down. The blue line is raw, the yellow line is slightly damaged, and the green line is PSA 10. And that's why you can see there's a little bit of a lag between when that green line starts, because obviously you can't grade day and dot. But Iono started to dip. Started around 60,000 like we saw, so we've got evidence. That is fact. We've seen that, right? And over the period of time, just continued to drop. And that period of time is the period of time where the booster boxes were selling for historical lows very, very quickly. You usually don't see these prices until January, February, March, like I was saying, because the prices of the booster boxes simply haven't gone that low yet. So why would the single cards drop? Doesn't make any sense. Was it just Iono? Well, this is another graph. This is actually a great site. Pokerstonks.xyz. Give this site a look. This tracks Card Rush's sales, which is great. So you can see what's going on at card stores in Japan, and probably one of the biggest, like Card Rush, in real time. It tracks all the sales. It tracks the price data. So if the price changes, you will see it, and you will see when that happens. So you can have a look at pokerstonks.xyz, and that is for the Iono SAR from the Shiny Treasure EX. Same thing happened to Charizard. This happened to every single card in the set. It was not exclusive to just one card or the chase card. It was happening to Charizard as well. And you can see the price listed at Card Rush as well started to drop too over that period. And now it's at that flat line level that it's been for the last 2 or 3 weeks, because interest is at an all-time low. But TikTok isn't the only reason that this all happened. It's a big reason. It's a big reason, but it's not the only reason why the prices of singles started to drop. I say one of the biggest reasons is because this set is just mid. It's a boring set. I think we can all agree. It's barely okay. I was saying at the time, Shiny Star V was a better set than this. And people were like, nah, you're capping. There's no way. You're lying. I think it's the most uninspired set Pokemon have released in the last 3 years. And it's a shame. Really, it's a shame. It's such a step back. And I think that is the wrong slide. That is the wrong image. That's supposed to be Shiny Treasure EX. Damn, somebody who's paying real hard attention has noticed that. That's right. He's right. He's not right. He's correct. That is a Shiny Star V box. This is not mid. This set is, I love this set. This is a great set. Shiny Star V is a great set. I was meant to say Shiny Treasure EX. Just imagine Shiny Treasure EX there. It basically looks the same. Anyway, it's the exact same box. It's the exact same concept. It's just worse. And it's worse than concepts and sets that we got within the last 2 years. Like a set that everybody loves, VMAX Climax. Why do we like VMAX Climax so much? Because it's got cohesion. There's identity. There's unity in the set. It makes sense. It feels right. There's a vibe. There's an intangible thing. There's something just about it that makes the set feel good. I actually read a comment, and I can't remember whose video I was watching where I read the comment, but they were saying that sets like Pokemon 151 feel like you're building towards something. And that's because there's order, there's balance. If you look at VMAX Climax, when it comes to the rare cards, at least, it's level. The concept and the idea of this set is Pokemon with their trainers, right? That's it. That's it. That's what the set is all about. It's Pokemon living their life with their trainers. That's why all the art rares have a trainer on them, or a leader, or a champion. Whether it was an art rare, which we're getting 3 of in a box, or a CSR where you were usually getting just the 1, it felt good. And there were other cards too that didn't match, right? That concept didn't match that identity, but that was okay because they didn't take over the set. And within their own little space in the set, they made sense. You had trainer cards because we have full art supporter cards. And then you had an exclusive one too, the Galar Friends. This one was a little bit more than, it was a little bit better than the others. It just stood out that little bit extra. It's a chase because it's a card that's kind of historic. It's like a moment in time for that period, for the Galar region. And then of course you had gold cards too, because, you know, gold cards, they look cool. Granted, the gold cards in VMAX Climax weren't amazing, but they weren't gaudy. They didn't look ugly. They didn't look tacky, right? Then you have a set like V-Star Universe. This is one of the best sets of all time. And I think we can all agree because it takes that concept from VMAX Climax and it levels it up. Creatures looked at that set and said, okay, you guys like VMAX Climax? Let's just take it a little bit step further. Let's do that. Ramp it up to 11, right? Why not? Because you guys love that one so much. And we're a pretty creative bunch. We can elevate, we can step up our game, we can keep delivering, I can keep you involved, we can keep you entrenched in the Pokemon card collecting world. Here's V-Star Universe. Pokemon living their daily life. This was the concept, or the personality, in my opinion, the theme of V-Star Universe. Pokemon just living. Each card illustrated by a different artist. It made sense, whether it was just the art rare or the SAR. You were seeing Pokemon in their natural environment, just living their best life. And of course you had gold cards too, but the gold cards were even better. The gold cards were phenomenal. This was setting the precedent for what gold cards were meant to look like moving forward. It was like either this or nothing. Give me this or give me death. I don't want anything below this anymore. You had trainer cards and you had 2 types. And this was starting to push the boundaries a little bit, but you gotta remember at this point in time, everybody was obsessing, or a lot of the world, a big part of Japan rather, I should say, was obsessing over full art supporter cards, especially ones that had women and females on them. This is just a thing. It's another topic for another day. We'll get into it. We'll get into it eventually. But of course they had to cater to that crowd, natural capitalism things, but it still made sense. You had the SARs that were all illustrated by different artists, and they all had a different vibe. You go and look at cards like Roxanne or Gardenia's Vigor. Even if you look at, or you're looking at Irida right there, Melanie, Raihan, they were just different takes on traditionally awesome cards. Then you had SRs like the Alistair Sparkle there. And of course there were different SRs like Boss's Orders, Professor's Research, or Volo. They were a little bit different. They looked like the traditional SR full art supporter. And then you had an expansion of the Galar Friends concept, Sinnoh Friends and Hisui Friends. I'm not showing Hisui Friends here, but there was 2. That was still good. Every single hit in this set felt good. It made sense. And that's what made it so good. And you never felt disappointed. The value proposition was always there. And then you get the Shiny Treasury X. And yeah, these cards do look cool. They're basically an expansion of CSRs, SARs, special art rares, they're alternate arts. They don't have to have the same concept. They don't have to have the same identity and cohesion, because that's what makes alternate arts cool. They're all different. They should, I think that they should. But it's okay if they're all drastically different. It starts to become a problem though when all the rare cards are all over the place. And this is a big issue. Why I have a big issue with Shiny Treasury X, because set's a goddamn mess. And I'm gonna turn myself off so we can just properly let this sink in and how much of a mess, art mess this entire set is. So yeah, it's a shiny set. So of course you're gonna have baby shinies, and that's fine. The baby shinies are probably the brightest spot from this set. Beyond baby shinies, you got SSRs, you got EX shinies. Okay, I get it. We have to have that too. Then you got art rares, and we like art rares. But the issue with this set is there's only 4 art rares. There's too few. You've got SARs, but there's only 3. These are the only 3 SARs in the whole set. It's just these 3. What were they cooking? The gold cards. The gold cards are an abomination. And I try to stay away from being like harsh and offensive, right? Because I know how much work goes into building something like this. And the creative space, the amount of energy, brain power, just dedication from the people involved, it's rude. I think it's ignorant to just dump on cards, right? But the gold cards are the most phoned in, lazy excuse for a card I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. It's just the full art, but with the blue background and gold around it. It's so terrible. And it's such a step back from the gold cards that we had in V-Star Universe that there's just no incentive to collect it. Then you move on to the full art supporter cards, and it gets worse. I think this is probably my biggest gripe with this set, is how all over the place the full art supporters are. You've got Paldea Friends, which just is so bad at this point in like the timeline of the games, because you haven't even had a hot minute to get acclimated or like build any nostalgia with these characters. You're supposed to get a Friends card at the end of an era, not at the start. And beyond that, the Friends, I don't even know who they are. They're just like 4 kids. Who are they? Somebody said they're supposed to be like representation of the player, of you. And that's why they're all different. But I think that sucks. They're literally NPCs. It's so bad. They aren't even friends. How can I have no connection to them. Mid. Terrible take. Clive, the card looks great, but it's just there. It's just like, it's the only kind of card of its kind in the set. It doesn't fit in with the others, which would be okay if all the SAR trainers were like that too, and you had about 15, 20 of them, but you only have about, what is it? It's roughly between like 6 to 12. There's not enough. I think 12 is being generous. There's not enough SARs for that to feel like its own section of the set. You got the Pokeball cards, which again, just came out of nowhere. What were they cooking? Never let bro cook again, in my opinion. Who let bro cook? Never let him cook again. Juice makes a good point. If they were going to do the trainer thing, they should have just all had the Pokeball. And then even if you don't like the Pokeball, at least there's cohesion. It's really important. Identity is super important. And then you got just normal full art supporters, like the Clive there in the bottom right corner. So there's like 5 different types of full art supporters. 5 different types of Pokemon cards in the set. So many rares. It just didn't work. And I think collectors, you don't need me to point this out because I think we all really feel the same way about it. It just didn't work. Nobody cared. Nobody cares. People lost interest. Nobody was like, I have to open up a box. I need it. I need it. That was gone. I need it. That feeling was just not there. Nobody cared. It was Jova. The sentiment, and that's really important for the longevity of a set and whether it stays popular for a very long time. The sentiment was at its lowest, or at an incredible low within a month of the set, within a few weeks of the set coming out. And because nobody cared, I should say on the nobody cared slide for a bit more. Because nobody cared, they stopped caring. I think people stopped caring because it signaled the end of an era. If this high class set, the best set of the year, wasn't able to elevate beyond what V-Star Universe gave us, then the future started looking pretty grim. And because of that, every other card started to dip too. It basically brought every other card with it, in my opinion. I think anyway. I feel like that sentiment was like a plague. It was like a blight. It was like a poison that just spread over every other Japanese Pokemon card from 2023, and it brought everything down with it. Cards like the Miriam SAR set the standard for the year, at least for chase cards, and their price came all the way down. I think it's just about 30,000, 35,000 yen now. Cards beyond or before 2023, like the Lugia V alternate art, great card, at its all-time low. Again, it's just the sentiment is in the bin. You can grab this card for about 30,000 yen, and if you're a savvy shopper, I mean, if you're buying this in Japan, damn, you're getting I reckon you're getting a pretty good deal if you buy a card like this outside of Tokyo. If you're buying it off Macari, you're still getting a better deal than if you were buying it off Card Rush. Shop around, you can pick this card up. It's the cheapest it's ever been. Other SARs from last year, like the Gardevoir EX, and this is a very playable card. This card is, I mean, this is in format. It's a meta deck. It's a tier 1 deck. It has been for all of last year. Whether it will be post-rotation, we'll see. Card's beautiful. I love the work of Jiro Susumu. You guys know I love the dude. But the value of the card, it's in the bin. It's close to 10,000 yen now. That's great. If you wanted to pick that up, that's a really good price. $100. And the Iono, the most expensive card of 2023. The card that was supposed to be immovable, right? Nothing was supposed to bring this card's value down. Below 100,000 yen, between, if you're buying it off Macari, about the 75,000, 85,000 yen mark. A little bit more expensive if you buy it from a card store like Card Rush, but still the lowest it's been in a very, very long time. Shiny Treasure EX took every other set with it. And the Charizard VMAX. This one's crazy. I still think this is one of the most, this is an undervalued card still. This is not financial advice, but this is a card that I will be getting a few of before this next uptick happens. If there's an uptick, chat. Even older cards. Oh, I forgot how many examples I had here. I had so many examples. Sightseer. This one's crazy. This card. I just looked at the graphic again. This card was 200,000 yen at one point. That's like 2,000 Australian dollars. That's so expensive. That is so expensive for one card. Granted, it's from 2019, but still. But even then, that couldn't stop what was happening to every other card. It's below 100,000 yen as well. So now it's less than 1,000 AUD. And what? It's probably at about, my conversion off the top of my head, I feel like it's about like what, 600, 700 USD? I can tell you what, in the heat, in the thick of it, in the peakest of peaks, the highest of highs, I don't think any Japanese collector really thought cards like this would come down that aren't in print anymore. They feel like the hardest to come down in price. So what did that mean? Well, for collectors, especially long-term collectors, and when I say long-term, I mean anybody who's sort of been around, let's say 2022, 2021, that's kind of seen the cycle a fair bit, right? For collectors, this was good. We weren't phased. People who just collect because they like collecting, we're having a good time. We welcomed it. This is why I didn't open up any Shiny Treasure EX. I did when Patty G helped me out, but that was about it. The value proposition wasn't there for me. I didn't want to do it. Collectors, mostly unfazed. It was great. But the investors, they were in the mud. Investors were having the worst time of their life. This was a terrible abomination. It's the worst thing. This is literally the worst thing that could have happened. Investors, they kind of got blown out. If you went hard on this set early, thinking that it was going to go up between December and February, you were going to have a terrible, terrible time. And you're probably having a terrible, terrible time now. And for the opportunists, the pumpers, well, they kind of feel like they had the rug pulled under them, wool over your eyes. It was like the rug got pulled out from underneath him. That's the one he's looking for. It's like the rug got pulled out underneath him. Because based on what happened with VMAX Climax, based on what happened with V-Star Universe, and even to an extent Shiny Star V, their expected return just wasn't there. And so the opportunists who traditionally look at the long term, they're trying to forecast what's going to happen in the 3 to 6 to 12 months. They kind of got a little bit spooked off. I mean, if I was an opportunist, I'd get spooked off too. Something that was traditionally making a lot of money for people, just all of a sudden was just gone in the blink of an eye, in the span of 3 to 4 weeks, because TikTok Shop had crazy sales. What was the point in pouring more money into this, in trying to invest in the future of Japanese Pokemon cards? Why would you spend a lot of money on Cyber Judge and Wild Forces when the biggest set of the year prior completely flopped? The opportunists, who are just basically infatuated with whatever's new, with whatever's hot, which whatever everybody around the world wants right now, made the decision, Japanese Pokemon cards, it just ain't it anymore. And there was a new kid in town. One Piece. The One Piece TCG. This is where you guys are probably going to be like, what's he cooking? Where's this come from? One Piece. I know nothing about it. If you haven't heard about One Piece collectible card game, you have been hiding. This set, this card game is a behemoth of the likes that we have never seen before. One Piece is doing things that not even Japanese Pokemon cards did in their peak. Since its release in the West in 2022, it is not only carved, it carved a corner when it released in the 2022. It carved a little corner, but now it's the lion's share, baby. One Piece it's the new hotness. If you're not collecting One Piece as an investor, you're making a big mistake. Now more than ever, it is taking the lion's share of attention. The One Piece card game is an absolute monster. If you start with OPO1, which is the first set that came out in December 2022, you go all the way back and you look at the first print of One Piece. Because there's different print runs. The cards don't have any marked fundamental difference outside of errata cards, so cards that had changes to the wording or the ruling of them, like the Nami card from OPO1. Outside of that, there's no way to tell whether the card is from first print or not. However, the underside of a booster box can indicate whether, or does literally indicate whether it's the first print or not. And blue bottom, so this is a booster box that has a blue bottom underneath top of it. Blue bottom booster boxes of OPO1, ridiculous price, ridiculous. This is USD 900 and, no, I should clarify, this is AUD, right? 1200, 930 AUD. And these are recent sales too. I've taken these from the last week. It doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Granted, that was OPO1. And the other sets that came out throughout last year haven't done the same thing OPO1 has. OPO2, OPO3, and OPO4. 3 sets, that's it. When you think about how many Japanese sets come out in a year, versus the value and interest of them versus One Piece. One Piece is really spread out. You're only getting 3 new sets. And I think this year we're getting the first special set, EBO1. So One Piece didn't even have a special set last year. It just had 3 booster boxes. These didn't rocket and spike in price the same way that OPO1 did, but they're getting up there. I think an OPO2 booster box is like 300 AUD, 350. OPO4 has a lot of yellow, not just because I mean, it kind of is, isn't it? There's a lot of yellow cards in it. That's the type of deck. The Katakuri deck, a lot of the playables from that deck are in OPO4, so that pushes the price of the box up as well. But then OPO5, which came out the exact same, literally the exact same time as Shiny Treasure EX. OPO5, this is crazy. This is the 4th set that came out last year. So sorry, there were 4 sets that came out. And this is the set with Gear 5 Luffy on it. So if you're a One Piece fan, this is like, I mean, I thought this was wicked. I don't know why I didn't pre-order a bunch of them because I love One Piece. And I knew that this was going to happen because it's the Gear 5 Luffy set. But OPO5, remember guys, we're in February, so it's been barely 3 months since this set has come out. OPO5 is expensive, much more expensive than V-Star Universe ever was, and VMAX Climax, and Shiny Treasure EX even contemplated being. 280 USD. This is USD prices for a booster box. The retail price is 100. So it's nearly 3 times retail within 3 months. That is so much, especially when the retail price is 100 already. And yeah, granted, there are supply issues, and supply issues always make things a lot harder for a TCG. So if it's harder to get cards, then the price of the cards are going to go up, or the price of the boxes are going to go up. If it's hard to find boxes, then the free market is going to take control, because that's the only other place that you can buy the booster boxes from, all the cards from. And all the issues that were plaguing Japanese Pokemon cards in 2021 and 2022, they are plaguing the One Piece card game as well, and it sucks. If you're a One Piece collector and you truly love the game and you truly love collecting it, It's a bad time for you. I feel you. I feel you. The TCG as an actual game, because this, like whether or not a card game or a collectible card game survives for collectors and investors, rather for investors, usually hinge on whether the TCG is actually good. But the TCG is insanely popular and it's offering prizing to players at tournaments in ways the TCGs have never offered before. This is an uncut sheet of alternate arts from okJLUV. And this was given to top 16 participants of nationals across the world. So not just one event. This was US nationals, Australian nationals. This was the top 16 prize. And this is selling for 45, last I checked anyway, this sold for 45,000 Australian dollars, which is like, it's like house deposit money. If you want to get a mortgage, that's like, how many years of rent is that? That's like 3, 4, is that like 3 years worth of rent? Like what? It's 4, 5, like it's at least like 2 or 3. Like, that's insane. Pokemon doesn't come anywhere near close to that. So the amount of people that are getting involved in the game and that want to keep playing it because the prize support is so good, super high. The artwork in it, I mean, you just have a look. Just have a look at some of the art from this set. There are Pokemon card artists that are drawing for One Piece TCG as well. The art is out of this world. The cards look phenomenal. Whether it's a rare card like the SRs or these set cards, or it's just like the commons, uncommons, and rares, like they are stunning. And if you're a One Piece fan, you are feasting. Not just the waifu cards. I mean, Yamato is a boy, but cards like Kuzan as well, right? This is like, they're so good. They're so good. It does not stop with One Piece. It just keeps getting better and better and better. So the cards look incredible. They're just really expensive. And then you got cards like this, like the defining chase cards. The defining chase cards. Crazy. Crazy expensive. They're so expensive. This is the chase card from okJLUV. Monkey D. Luffy Sec. Manga Luffy. You probably heard it commonly referred to. That's US. I think. No, italics means it's converted. No. Yes. No. Yes. No? It's close. No. Yes, it is. It's US. Because the 4,845 one is a PSA 10. That's why it's more expensive than the others. This is sold US listings. PSA 10, close to 5,000 USD. Raw, 3,000 USD. It's wild. I don't think a Japanese chase card has ever been this expensive within 3 months. Granted, cards like Umbreon VMAX SR from EV Heroes got very close, but this was at a very, 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 very extended period of time. The demand for One Piece, it is insatiable right now. It's out of this world. It's crazy. The amount of people that are getting interested in this, not just because they want to collect it or because they want to play it or because they're investing in it. Crazy. The show and the manga and the anime, everything about One Piece is peaking right now. The opportunists, they're feasting, right? One Piece is exactly what the doctor ordered, especially after Shiny Treasure EX. And it really does feel like if you're an investor, One Piece has well and truly put Pokemon cards in the mud and buried it. Which is bad if you're an investor, but it's great if you're a collector. So that brings us to now. It brings us to the present. Cards are the most affordable they have been. In the last 2 years, it's reasonable now. You can buy chase Japanese Pokemon cards and not feel like you're breaking the bank. It's like if you got a little bit of disposable income at the end of the month, right? You can feel like you can get a couple of chat's still here. Sorry, I thought we broke. Sorry guys, thought stream broke. It doesn't feel like you're overextending yourself. 5,000 yen for a new release, alternate art, essentially what the SARs are, unprecedented. They're the cheapest they've been on launch for a very, very long time. And cards are back on the shelves. Boxes, packs, etc. They're still back. They're back on the shelves if you're in Japan. So we've kind of like returned to 2021 pre-EV Heroes era. You can see there. You can only buy max 3 boxes of Cyber Judge, but the other doesn't look like there is a limit. Which is wild. That's honestly wild. No limit on Shiny Treasure EX says it all, really. And it's not just in Japan either, it is internationally too. I think Japan U1, which is, they kind of turned off pre-orders. I can't remember when they turned pre-orders off and moved to first come, first serve system. But they're offering pre-orders for the next set, Crimson Haze. And the sets that have just come out in January, Cyber Judge and Wild Forces, they're just sitting there in stock. So whether you're in Japan or you're buying from wherever country, wherever you are in the world, off a third-party site, you feast them. There's only really like 5 Japanese Pokemon cards that came out last year that are still really, really expensive. Outside of that, like, oh, I can justify spending this money this week or this month. One of those is Iono. Card's really playable. And it's a chase waifu. Still cheaper than it's ever been. The other is an interesting one. Pokemon 151's Pikachu Master Ball. 54,800 yen. This card fluctuated. I think I was hovering over 30,000 yen for the longest time, and then I never pulled the trigger because I just couldn't justify it. Because like I said, it was in that 300 Australian dollar mark where it was like, do I really want to spend $300 this month on one card? So these are the exception. There are so many other cards beyond just these from this year. Miriam, again, a card that was at I'm going to say it was at 100,000 yen at one point. I remember seeing it around Japan for 70,000 yen during Worlds. Now it's below 50,000 yen. So if you really wanted this card, now's an okay time to do it, but just make sure you save your pretty pennies. And Iono, the new Chase trainer card, is 34,800 yen and dropping. It's so funny that only like 2 of the cards I've shown here are actually Pokemon cards. As for Pokemon cards, the most expensive Pokemon card from last year, outside of the Pikachu Master Ball, is the Charizard from Ruler of the Black Flame. And that's a Charizard. And it's an alternate art. 23,800 yen. If you ignore those cards that are like really expensive and you just look at the new cards that are coming out, the other cards beyond just the set's one chase card, so cheap. I feel like, I remember having discussions with people and we used to talk about this during the streams, being like, there's just no way that it gets back to those levels again where a chase SAR was below 10,000 yen. I remember after Giratina V Alternate Art got, after Lost Abyss released in Japan and we saw the Giratina V Alternate Art, it felt like we were never going to see an Alternate Art get cheaper or go below 15,000 yen at launch. And now you're seeing cards like the Raging Bolt, the Raging Bolt, Gouging Flame EX, Iron Boulder, Iron Leaves, all of them. Walking Wake's not there because it's sold out. They're so cheap. Previous sets, you go back, Cyber Judge, cheap. It's affordable. This period, it's gone. And that's normal. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, you can't have the good times forever. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. If you were there and you capitalized off that run, great. Congratulations, you did well. And I did too. I sold a bunch of cards in Japan and I was able to sell cards in Japan and then get chase cards, grail cards that I thought were going to be out of reach. I remember, I traded a lady, essentially, a lady and a Miriam for a Karen's Umbreon. You do that deal in a heartbeat. You do that deal in a second. And it was made possible because of that pump. I'm grateful for that pump. It didn't hurt anybody. I don't think that pump hurt anybody except greedy people, personally. That's my hot take. There's the hot take for the stream. So with all that said and done, does that mean this is the end? Does that mean it's officially Jova? It's Jowari for Japanese Pokemon cards? Well, no, obviously not. Let's be serious, guys. Let's be serious, guys. This is not the end. It's the end of that run. It's the end of this. But it's not the end. It's not like pack up your books, sell everything, go home. You had a good run. Let's move on. No. If you're a collector, this is great. It's probably the best time to collect Pokemon cards in the last 2 or 3 years. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's not the glory days where things were, you know, I saw a few people in the chat saying they were buying, I think Bob's Pokemon cards said he bought Sightseer for $36. Yeah, it's not the glory days where you can do stuff like that, but it's as good as it's gonna get. It's the new, that new paradigm that we thought wasn't going away. This peak here from that June, July, it wasn't the paradigm. It was for that period. No, the new paradigm is this low. I should have put the low graph again, whatever. The TCG is the biggest it's ever been. Like, it's wild. The Pokemon TCG is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Whether you play or not, I don't know, everybody plays, but the tournaments are getting bigger than they've ever been. So the game is in a really, really, really good spot. And when the game that the entire collectible card game is structured around is in a good spot, then generally the future looks pretty bright, whether you're a collector or an investor. This is a Warren Buffett quote. I never thought I'd put this in a stream, but hey, here we go. The time to get interested is when no one else is. So this isn't an investor's channel. Like, I don't think I target this anyway to investors, but let's be serious, guys. Let's call a spade a spade. All right, let's keep it 100. I know for a fact that investors watch, the people that like invest in Pokemon cards watch this channel. Why do you think I got up in the suit? Put the suit and the shirt. It's a piss take. I'm taking the piss, right? I know you guys watch it. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not gonna hate or diss on you guys that only watch this channel because you invest in Pokemon cards and you're trying to make money. Be stupid. Watch what you want. I know you guys are watching. The time to get interested is when no one else is. If you're turned off Japanese Pokemon cards as a collector because you think that they're not worth anything anymore, then you're not really a collector. You're an investor. So come to terms with that. If you're a collector, you're loving this. This is great. This is the best time to collect. Like, all collectors, I think most collectors now anyway, are just buying singles and they're having a great old time. It's awesome. If you're a singles collector, you are feasting. If you're an investor, now's the time to kind of like place your bets anyway. But I think you've got a long time to do it. I don't think things are going to dramatically shift the way that they did in the last year. I think it's going to be a good couple of years before that happens. We are 2 years away from the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and I feel like that is when things are really going to pick up again. That we're going to get, I'm not going to say we're going to get back to those highs, but we're going to get close to. So I feel like things will get crazy again when the 30th anniversary happens, but that's a while away. So if you're an investor, you kind of just have to be patient. And if you're a collector, like I said, guys, lap it up, embrace it. These are the good times. This is when all that angst, the frustrations that we had when you couldn't buy booster boxes, when you feel like you're getting priced out, that all the fun was gone, that it was just a miserable time to be a collector, made you want to quit, you were selling everything. Those days, I feel like, I can definitively say anyway, those days are kind of gone. They are gone. I'm going to stop dancing around it. If you're a collector, now's a great time to collect. If you've ever thought about collecting, now's a great time to get into it. Whether you want to buy boxes or you want to buy singles, you got a lot of options again. Between 2022 and 2023, there were not a lot of options. So enjoy it. Collect modern. If you're chasing Grail, it's going to be a little bit harder. You're going to have to wait. I mean, here's my hot tip. For those of you that have stuck around all the way to this point in the stream, my hot tip is, if you're chasing Grail cards, but you feel like they're out of reach now, I'm talking Grail vintage from like, you know, the 2000s, 2010s, place your bets now. Buy cards that you think are going to go up in a couple of years now. When that time comes, if things work in your favor, sell them at that point in time in the highs, and then go and get your Grail cards. Because that's what I did. Cards that I didn't think I was going to ever get, like that Current Umbreon, it's in my binder now. Made possible because of an $80, not even an $80, it was like a $50 lady full art and an Amani that I paid, I think, 100 AUD for. So I turned $150 into a $1,500 card. Pretty good if you ask me. That's it, guys. Like I said, not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. This is opinion only. Take everything here with a grain of salt. But that's all she wrote. Collect safely, everybody. And thank you very much for watching my presentation. Thank you guys. I hope you took value from that. And you didn't take it too seriously. And I know I didn't answer any questions at all during that, but I couldn't because otherwise we'd be here forever. So I feel like now is a good time for question time. We can do question time. You guys want to do question time? Ooh, that might have been very disorientating for viewers. Look away. Jay Quasar, you gonna say anything or not? How many Nami altars should I buy? Oh, yeah, I definitely did not want that to be a, hey guys, go and invest in One Piece dog whistle. No. We use One Piece there as an example. Well, I think it was pretty important. I think it was pretty important to include the existence of One Piece in that discussion because it plays a big part. One thing I didn't speak of in this stream actually were the other forces at play, and I didn't really want to distract. Dog whistle is 100% the wrong word. Sorry. You know I don't know words. There may be other forces at play. We'll talk a little bit about this now. Diamond Hands, thank you for the super chat, you legend. I was happy to hear some of your TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed it, buddy. Thank you, man. There was a bunch of resubs during that stream as well. Sorry, guys, I didn't get to them. I just wanted to keep momentum going. Thank you to everybody who resubbed and membered here at YouTube. You guys are legends. Kilowatts, your legend. Asteri, thank you for the resub. Cass and Agnes, Wongman, and Perry, thank you guys. Appreciate you. The A word, I love it. The other forces at play. So I saw a little bit of this discourse on Twitter last week. People saying that China, and you hear this a lot, China is a big reason why Japanese Pokemon cards got expensive. And I don't like it because there's no proof. There's a lot of like anecdotes. There's a lot of like, oh, I know a guy or like my buddy, whatever, right? But there's no actual proof. So it feels kind of like studies or like actual examples of things like TikTok Shop, of what happened during December with the TikTok Shop sales and discounts. Like you can actually point at something and be like, hey, that's real. China feels like a bit of a boogeyman. So when people are like, oh, it's because of China, it just feels like a bit wrong. So I didn't want to talk about that. I have heard stories, but again, it's just like conjecture. Whereas like a lot of what we spoke about today is like actual things that happen. I feel like the conversation gets really messy when people bring up China. Lower prices on Pokemon cards just mean more people can join in the fun. It is, that's right. It's a good time for Pokemon. We need highs and lows. Yeah, it's a great time. I mean, the only people that get upset about this are people that are like invested in it, that are like financially invested in it and then get emotional. Those are the only ones that really care when you say it's over or like it's so hot right now. Flex, I saw your video about Pokemon cards stop being fun. Do you think the fun is back? I love the single prices right now. I think, especially at the end of that video, I spoke a lot about how much I love this era of Pokemon cards. It's still fun for me. It's just a different kind of fun. I found my own fun chasing vintage cards and just filling out my artist binder. And that's usually what I do when things get a little bit too expensive. And last year was a great year for an artist binder for building that anyway, because we got some of the best looking cards we've ever gotten. So I think now's a great, it's still fun if you know how to adapt. If you know how to adapt. I feel like I said that in the video as well. Talium, any artist you're loving at the moment? Yes. Minami Take is probably one of my favorites right now. I'm working on a video. Embrace the entire bit. You can't just go half-ass. You have to embrace the entire bit. Yeah, that is my actual ass. That is yeah, it is. It is. You guys saying that Zaddy got a dumper? Not even doing anything. Somebody said, show us your muscles. There, I showed you. You wish you had a dump truck like this. Why'd that scare? Oh, it was the goddamn that scared you. Pussio, my little pickle, kombucha, D's nuts. Have a nice day. Lolviet, good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here, man. Thank you for 22 months. I lubed up my mic arm and now it's like all over the place. Yeah, the rock was pretty loud. Sorry about that, guys. I know this isn't related to the discussion, but I found out on Instagram that MetaZoo is being discontinued. Yeah, that was crazy, but that was so expected. That entire TCG just sucked. MetaZoo was always a money grab, and that's why it just didn't have legs. You could tell there was just no heart in it. Had no heart. Lovia, thank you for the sub, King. Good to have you back, buddy. When is the SV DLC continuing? Good question. When do I feel like it? I haven't really been streaming a whole lot because I mean, honestly, just haven't really been feeling it. So I don't want to just like half-ass a stream. Sorry, don't take it personally. It's just like, I haven't been feeling it and I can't give you guys my best me when I'm not feeling it. But I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. So I reckon we're gonna fire them up again. Zach, I'm new to the channel. I'm actually happy the market, happy for them. I'm actually happy the market for them is going down. Better quality for a better price equals best value. Yes, it's healthy. It's normal now. It's good, isn't it? Welcome to the channel, by the way, Zach. Thanks for coming down, you king. Has the Pika skateboard dropped in price? Don't know. I know you have an order from TikTok shop, but should I get a V Star Universe booster box from there? It's like 55. I don't know. I've thought about it. I every now and then I think about buying booster boxes to put into like the investment storage, but I get kind of spooked when I think about how many like boxes are probably out there. I was thinking about it today. somebody, I think it was the dude that created Pokestonks XYZ, the website I was talking about in the stream, was sending me a graph of it was the price of Mew, the art rare from V-Star Universe, and how it's basically 200 yen now. And a lot of that, the reason for that is because the card is out of rotation. So like it's not playable anymore. So people are not playing it as much. So they're just dumping them. But for them to be that cheap, kind of scary, and says a lot about how many are probably out there. So there's probably a lot out there, which means there's probably still a lot of boxes out there, which means how can a booster box go up in value if there's so many out there? I dislike to diss on artists' work or takes on illustrations, but I had a hard time finding one nice looking Metazoo card. I will say Metazoo just definitely feels like acquired taste. I mean, you know, I think it's no secret that I prefer the art style of Eastern artists, or like the East style of illustrations rather than the West style. This is, I mean, this how I feel about video games too. I'm not a big fan of Western games from Western devs. I prefer games that come out of Japan because the style of game is just, I like it more. It's like why I never liked games like, really liked games like Skyrim, or like what's the other one that Bethesda made? Not Fallout. The one Star, what's the Star something? I saw it and I was like, I sleep. Space and I sleep. What is it? Star? Not Witcher. Starfield. Yeah, I was just like, come on, man, miss me with that. But I'll play like an 100-hour JRPG like any day of the week. StarCraft's a great game. StarCraft. I love StarCraft. And that's not to say like I don't play any Western games. Like, I love me some Counter-Strike. I've been playing Helldivers 2 lately. It's pretty good. Sorry, Joe. K-Ski, thank you for the resub, King. Ooh, thank you for 16 months in a row. Hey, by the way, K-Ski's popping off right now. K-Ski runs the account Pokemon JP. This is probably one of the, if you like Japanese Pokemon card art, this is a great account to follow. Pokemon JP. I speak about this every stream, I feel like. Give them a sus. K-Ski runs that account. I'm pretty sure it does. Don't you, K-Ski? Oh, we'll do another 10 minutes of questions, I feel, and then I gotta go watch Mavs vs Suns and have some lunch. Zero Intelligence, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I saw you got the retweet from Mitsuyo Arata, and then that kind of just like pops off from there on. Hey, good stuff, dude. You're killing it. Not because of, like, credit to you. You're doing the kind of thing that not many people are doing, and people want to see it. So when you tick both those boxes, you're having a good time. It's half time already. Excellent. I'll catch the second half. Do you reckon team up booster boxes will keep rising for the next 3 years, or will it sit at its current price for a bit? Oh, this is a good question. I think, okay, you know how I answer this question? I think any set before Paradigm Trigger will continue to like rise in value slowly. Like it'll steadily rise in value. But all the sets after are going to have a harder time. And I think that's a supply issue. That's down to volume. So pre-Paradigm Trigger, less volume. Post-Paradigm Trigger, so post V-Star Universe, more volume than ever. Crazy amount of volume. So because of that, anything before Paradigm Trigger is probably going to will continue to slowly increase in price, because naturally it will. There's fewer out there, less volume. Market can dictate the price easier. Like there's they are more easily able to dictate the market price because there's less volume. Now, Sun and Moon especially will rise faster than the other one, than the Sword and Shield block, because there's less Sun and Moon than there is Sword and Shield. And sets like Team Up, Wicked Alt Arts in them, very popular in the West. Yes, likely to continue to rise. The last part of that question, or will it sit at its current price for a bit? Like, I think this, I feel like this whole year, we're going to just sit at current prices. I don't think we're going to see upticks until like, let's talk in like 25th, 30th anniversary measure, right? Like 29.5, 29.3. Around about that point, I think, is when things will uptick. But until then, no. I think it'll kind of just sit, especially this year. Am I still picking up vintage? Where I can. You just gotta, can't be spending all my money on Pokemon cards these days. So where I can. If it's trainers people care about, full art trainers will always be cool. Full art trainers will always be cool if they are trainers people care about. What are your hopes for the sets that come out after they're done with the new mons? Ooh. I don't know. They're going to do a lot to bring me back. They're going to do a lot to get me caring again after, to really like go all in again. Like Wild Forces and Cyber Judge, I was pretty... I had a good fun with, because I mean, you'll see why when I talk about it in that vid that I've got coming out in the next couple of weeks. So they're doing more stuff like that, I'm in. Would I say vintage prices pretty much peaked? You know, I feel like vintage never really got there. Especially when you can buy gold stars still for about $1,000, which is crazy considering how old they are. Japanese gold stars, that is. Yeah, I can't think what 30th will be either. They've really got to cook. We'll see. All right, chat. I reckon we call it there. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. Hope you got a little bit out of it. Appreciate you guys coming down. As always, good to hang out. Pokemon never dies because it's an intelligence security company. Heard someone saying it, not me. And you guys think I... think I'm cooking. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Resubbers, subbers, you guys are legends. Any card conventions in Australia, and if so, do you go to any? I missed last year's big one, which was TRA Con, because I was in Japan. But I think TRA Con are doing another con this year, and I will be there no matter what. I'll make... well, I mean, it's the same time as Worlds. We'll see. We'll see. I will try my best to get there. Am I going to EUIC? Unlikely. It's like a 5-10% chance right about now. We'll see. Taliam, good to see you again. Thanks for coming down. ZD10. Goodbye, Mr. Green. Josh Gamer, take care. Cookies. Deity, thank you for coming down. Good to have you. Genium Genie, thank you for the resub, your legend. Leroy, my man. I'll message you in a bit. Thanks, Leroy. Jonathan Every. Yo, it's been a long time. You got me at the end. Jonathan, Evie. Bruh. Zanga, take care. Phazon, it was always good to have you, man. Kilowatts, peace. Momars, thank you. Momathy for hanging out. Modi, good night. Bean, as always, thank you, King. Catch a craze, have a good one, dude. Luke Gale, see ya. Sorry for screwing up your lunch break. Dub Dino, peace. Take care. Is my finger better? Yeah, pretty much. I can't make a full fist yet, but I'm getting there. Gotta get that range of movement back. It's getting there. Still kind of stubby. It's not broken anymore. Revel, take care. Alan, have a good one. Pseudozora, peace. Cytomane, love you, buddy. Sarama, good one. Good one. Sorry, Ma. Take care, bro. Look at this. I lubed it too much. It's too lubed. It just keeps rising on its own. It's insane. I can't stop it. It just won't stop rising. I over lubed it. Too much lube. Have a good one, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.